Hello friends, welcome to my channel on Dynamics 365 F&O solutions. Today I'm going to discuss about trade agreements and purchase agreement. Look at the concept behind trade agreement and purchase agreement and end with a F&O application setup for trade agreement and use it in a purchase order. Okay. Now let me get into the concept of trade agreement and what's a trade agreement. A trade agreement is basically used for looking up the price and discount rules that you have set up for an item or a group of items or for all items. Whereas if you look at the purchase agreements, it is a contractual commitment with a specific vendor, and you have certain terms to be fulfilled. For example, you can sign a contract with a vendor on a quantity based or a value based. So there's a little difference between going in for a trade agreement and when we should go for a purchase agreement. If you are going to implement for one of your customers who's seeking your advice on what to do for their purchase order setup and product setup. Okay. Now let me get into the comparison of these two agreements, and then we can probably understand which should be picked up for our customers. Okay. So this is a comparison between a trade agreement and a purchase agreement. So if you look at what I've done is I have lined up the concept functional areas, and then what is the attribute of a trade agreement and what is the attribute of a purchase agreement. Okay. So the first information that we should all know that is whenever you enter a purchase line item in a purchase order, basically trade agreements look up your trade agreements and it fetches the price and discounts. Okay. So this is a very what do you call a basic level. You don't have any binding, whereas you use the same concept in a purchase agreement. It's actually a binding. You agree to a certain terms, like either based on a quantity or on a value based. So basically we will sign a blanket order with a vendor, and our customers can keep on raising purchase orders until the blanket order is what do you call meeting the requirement. For example, if we sign a blanket order for 1,000 quantities, we will be raising purchase order one after the other until we reach the commitment 1,000 quantity. Similarly, if we have a purchase order for a value base, we can keep on raising purchase orders until we meet the commitment. Now, so the next concept is at what level we can raise a trade agreement. Okay, a trade agreement can be raised for a single item in our release product page, and we can also now configure it for a group of items, or we can configure it for all items. Similarly, we can configure it for a vendor group, or all vendors. Whereas if you look at purchase agreements, it is strictly tied to one single vendor account. Okay. So what is the scope of the feature? It is restricted to item codes or item IDs that is listed in our release products. Whereas here you don't have to go by item code. You can go by specific items, or you can go for entire procurement categories. So if you recollect, I had discussed about procurement categories. I had created procurement categories in my earlier sessions. For those who are new to my channel, please feel free to refer to my earlier videos where it talks about attributes, categories, procurement categories, and product categories. Okay. And the next one is how do we track the fulfillment or commitment? In this case, in trade agreement, there is no tracking needed, but there is a date range. Okay, until then you can keep it active. So it does not track either volume or consumption. It does not track the volume. Whereas in a purchase agreement, it actively tracks the commitment, whether you have signed on a quantity or a value based. Okay. And the next one, how does it get defaulted in a PO page? So whenever you enter a purchase order and whenever you create a new purchase order, and when you enter a purchase order line, automatically the price will be fetched for the range mentioned in the trade agreement. Okay. And whereas in a purchase agreement, you actually have to now link the purchase agreement and you have to release the order. So there's a little extra step, one more step in purchase agreement, because it is a signed contract. You need to have a released order. Once you release the order, automatically a PO will be created in your purchase order module, and you can go to the respective purchase order and start working on that further. And then the next, what is the type of commitment? Here we can add a price commitment, or we can add a discount. Again, discount is at a 3 level. One is at a line level, multi-line level, or a total discount level. Okay, so these are the commitment types that is allowed in a trade agreement. Whereas in a purchase agreement, we have 4 options. One is that quantity based, product value based, general value, and category value based. So a little flexible, more added feature in purchase agreement. And now, having understood all this different parameters that describe the trade agreement and purchase agreement, it helps us to decide what we should suggest for our customers. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Now you can go through these features and then decide which agreement will be good for our customers. As a functional consultant, it will be really good to have information when we talk to our customers, especially during our interaction, when we walk through their requirement analysis sessions. It will be good to ask questions accordingly, and then we can use this information in our implementation stage. Okay, so the next point I would like to share here is that what happens is, suppose you have a trade agreement and a purchase agreement for an item and vendor combination. What will happen is the purchase agreement overrides a trade agreement for the same item and vendor combination. Okay, and the next point we need to note that is that, let's say we also have an item price defined in our release product page under the manage cost action menu. For those who are new to this channel, please feel free to see my video session on item price definition and how it impacts the purchase price, and then you'll be able to relate to what I'm saying here. So it will be easier for you to relate to what this line means. Okay, so when I have an item price and I also have a trade agreement, the trade agreement overrides a item price, and I'll show you an example how it works when there is a item price and a trade agreement for a particular item. Okay, now having said that, this is the end of the concept session on trade agreement and purchase agreement. Now let me get into the application and start creating a simple trade agreement, and then create a purchase order, and then see how it works out. Okay, Now let me get into the application. Please hold on for a sec. Okay, I am in the F&O application release product page, and as you see here, I am in a release product list page. I'm going to now pick one of the products that I defined. If you have seen my earlier video, I had created a list of products using a product template. So feel free to refer to my earlier video on product template and product creation using product template. So in that session, I had created a list of products. I'm going to use those one of those products and then start creating a trade agreement. Okay, now let me see if there is any trade agreement here. No, it's not there. So I can use this option, create trade agreements. Okay, and I can create a new trade agreement. And let me see if I have a item price for this item. Yeah, I have an item price 1,450 already created for this item. I'm going to create a trade agreement. Okay. Now, what I should do is before I get into the trade agreements, I need to do some setup in a module, other module in a purchase, procurement, and sourcing. I need to activate the discounts and prices option in a setup page. That is, yeah. So I have to activate price and discounts under the setup, purchase, procurement, sourcing, setup, and under that trade agreements, activate price discounts. So I can also create trade agreements using this option, but I chose to create it from a release product page because I want to show you for a particular item. So here I should go to this page, and then if you look at this page, there are various tabs, fast tabs. So one is the price, the line discount, and multi-line discount, and total discount. So these options are now mapped to the trade agreements. Okay. Now, if I want to create a purchase price trade agreement, I need to enable these tab. Okay. Now let me enable this. This is when I enable this, it means that one item and for one vendor, and this when I enable it for vendor group, this is for the vendor group level, and when I enable this all vendors, means that this item is no matter whatever vendors you buy from, it is applicable for all vendors. So this is the option first I should enable. If we don't enable this option, whenever you enter a purchase line data in your purchase order, whatever price you enter, and you will not fetch the information that is now mentioned in your trade agreement. So it is very, very important step to configure before you start creating your trade agreement. Now let me go back to the release product. Let me create a trade agreement. Okay. So there's already one, so I'm going to create a new one. Okay, so I add a purchase. Okay, purchase. Okay, purchase price trade agreement. Okay, so here this is where I need to mention whether I'm going to create a purchase price or I'm going to create for a discount. Again, in the discount, as I mentioned, there are three levels. One is that at a line level, purchase line level discount, meaning that for each item that I'm going to enter in my purchase line, I can set up a discount. Okay, or a multi-line. For a multi-line means more than one line, I can add a purchase discount for multiple lines, and or I can add a total discount. Here The total discount is used for all the items, no matter how many items you define in a purchase line. It is at a purchase order header level. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick in this session. I'm going to select the basic thing, the purchase price. Okay, at a line level for a single item. Okay. So I'm going to save. Now I'm going to create a journal for this. So I go back here. Purchase TA is my trade agreement, is my name. I go back here. I pick this just that I created. Now this is my trade agreement ID, purchase TA. Okay. Okay. Now I have to create the lines information. Now this is the journal name. Purchase TA is my journal name. And now I'm going to create the journal lines. Okay. All right. So now what I want to do is I want to create for a single vendor that I have defined. So I'm going to select a table level. Table here means that it is for a individual vendor. I need to select the vendor here. And so as I have one vendor, I want to first create a purchase line trade agreement for this vendor alone. If I want to choose for all vendors, I can choose all. So this will be blank. So if I want to choose for a vendor group, I should use this group. In that case, I should have defined a vendor group. Automatically, this will be changed to vendor group. Now let's drop down. I should use a vendor groups now here. So whatever vendors are listed under this group, this purchase line is applicable for all the vendors in that vendor group. Now I'm going to use only at a table level. This means for a single vendor. So I selected my vendor, and here I'm going to use the item code at a table level. So I'm going to select the item. So my item is I want to choose front headlight. Okay. So this is what I want to select. I want to select this for my front headlight product, and I want to select this for a Delhi site and warehouse, Delhi warehouse. Okay. Now the quantity range. Okay. So a range, I want to mention it is applicable for 1 to 100. Okay. Or let me say 51. Okay. So I want to give this price as 1,400. Okay. And that's all. Okay, I save it. Okay. Now I can validate if I want to check whether the information I have done, whatever I've entered is correct. Okay. So it says there is a price defined at a site and warehouse level. So what I should do is let me show you one quick information. So if you look at I have a let me go back to my release product. Release products and front headlight. This was the one which I had used for creating the trade agreement. Now let me go here. So if you look at my storage dimension here is site warehouse location. Okay. Now let me go back here. So this is the place where you enable now your trade and discount, price and discount information for your item mapped to the storage dimension. So you need to map this, okay? You need to map this information at a storage dimension level. So this is what I've done, okay? So I already have enabled it when I created this storage dimension, and my front headlight is mapped to this storage dimension. Okay, so this particular setup is needed if we have to use this for trade and discount. For example, look at this. It says price and discount agreement. If you want to make it work, you have to enable this for purchase price. Similarly, for if you want to make a sales agreement work, you have to enable this here before you start creating a sales agreement. Okay, so this is one important step we should be aware of before we start using this in our trade agreements. Okay, now I go back here. Now I have already created a purchase price trade agreement. Now let's see how it works in a purchase order. Okay, now let me go back here. I will show you how the release product page looks like now. When I initially showed, there were no for this item. There were no trade agreements earlier. Now let's say view trade agreements. Okay, it should be showing up here. Okay. Okay. Purchase prices. Okay. This is okay. I am not sure if I posted this. Let me post this. I posted this. I think I didn't post it. Okay, let me post this. Okay. Okay, so it is posted. So purchase TA, this is what I posted now. It is posted. Now, now let me go back here and then do a refresh. Okay. Yeah. So now it's showing up here after I posted this. So this is my trade agreement which I created for a item, and this is the range, quantity range. Okay, and the price is $1,400. Okay. Now let me create a purchase order for this okay item. I go to the purchase order, all purchase orders, and I create a new purchase order. Vendor account is vendor 1, and site is Delhi, and site is warehouse is Delhi. Okay, I press OK. Okay, now the product which I want to use this here is the front headlight. Okay, so now look at this. This is the 1,400. It has fetched the price from my trade agreement. Okay, in my trade agreement I had given a price 1,400. It has fetched it here. Okay, so now if you look at my trade agreement is for price range. Okay, this is a different one. Okay. Okay, so this is the price which has been defined for this item. Now, this is the trade agreement I had created for front headlight. If you look at this line, it says 1,400. Okay, now, and that's why it fetched 1,400 here. Okay, Now what I do is the range for this trade agreement is 1 to 51. So please note that I have posted a trade agreement for the range if the quantity is in the range 1 to 51. Now if you look at it, it has fetched 1400. Okay, now what I do is I change the quantity out of this range. Let's say I do 60. So now it has shown, it is showing 1450. Where did it pick this from? Now let's check from where it picked it from. Okay, because my condition is only for the quantity if it is between 1 and 51. Even if it is 51, if you applicable for quantity 50, it will fetch 1400. Now I want to now go back to my release product and show the purchase price tab here and then see how it is done. Here, see here. So in my purchase price, which I created using my manage cost, item price, there I had given the price as 1450. Here there is no quantity range. It is for single quantity. It is 1450. So now, and the same is defaulted in my purchase price. Now purchase tab, fast tab, 1450. Now what has happened is, as my trade agreement is between 1 and 50, it showed now 49, it showed 1400. Now if my quantity is outside my trade agreement range, let's say 666, so then it fetches 1450, which is now picked up from my item price information. So that's the difference. So if we have to use it for all the ranges, then we have to create suitable ranges in my trade agreement. If you don't have that range, automatically it will pick from the purchase price defined in your item price. Okay, so just wanted to share this with you. I hope this was useful. I'm stopping this session here. In a subsequent sessions, I'll be covering more on trade agreements. I'm going to now create more flavors of trade agreement. Stay tuned to my channel. Thanks for watching this video and see you soon. Bye. Until then.